RC Underground Radio is your go-to podcast for everything RC.
Do you guys realize how much it costs to be friends with this dude?
Whether you're a dedicated racer or just getting started in the hobby, this is your show. Each episode features top-notch guests, industry leaders, and you, the racer. It's a community where listeners can learn, connect, and grow their passion for RC racing. So, grab your transmitter, buckle up, and join us on RC Underground Radio.
Say words.
Here are your hosts, Dave Brinkman and TJ Greer.
So I do have a guy that wants to hear something. So Marcus Stepp, he had commented on something and said that he wanted to see or hear more oval. And I said, okay, I got you. What do you want to hear? He said, I love the drifting, the crawler world. I see it. I've been watching every episode, but let's talk more dirt oval. What do you want? So he's going to make his first Chili Bowl appearance this year. Well, we'll call it this year, but in 2025, in January, he's going to make his first Chili Bowl appearance and wants to know what he needs to do to prep for a big race such as that. So, nice. I can give him a few pointers. I can obviously how you run your program. We'll start from the beginning, man. Your cars need to be ready. So I would challenge you to find a track that is comparable to what you think it'll be like. I'm going to tell you it's loose dirt. It does groove up, but it's still going to be considered loose. So if you have a track nearby that you can go and run a track that's going to be loose, you need to find the tires that you're running, set your car up for that kind of race, and that's what you need to run it as. If you don't know what Chili Bowl rules are, you need to find out if tracks are running those rules or if they're just running DODC rules, but they're close. There's some differences, some variances. Find out if your car is going to be legal prior to going. The number one thing I think people probably get frustrated about is they go through tech trying to get through practice, and they don't let you go and practice with a car that you can't pass through tech. So they'll always have tech.
What's the two things that people usually get hung up
for
on
tech
and have to go back and figure it out?
Depends on your car. So I'll just for sprint. A lot of things what they're going to tech is they're going to tech the front bumper to wing. So this right here has to be even. Your wing can't go in front of your bumper. So that's one thing. There are also your braces. There's a minimum restriction that it has to be as far back and it can't be forward or too far back. So you have to have a certain, that's one there. Also the actual size of your wing, that does matter. So you can go smaller and smaller, but I mean, a lot of people being on loose, they want the bigger wing, and there's certain rakes you could be at, so you can't go over certain rake.
Would that be the one that would be the most stressful, I would think, because you're like, oh my gosh, like somehow build it, or will they somebody there selling?
So people will have bigger fins. They'll, obviously more fins, bigger fins, better downforce. It's going to change your aero. But if it doesn't go through the gauge, you're going to say, hey, you need to trim off a 1/4 inch. People are ticked because now you just spent $300 on all your fleet of cars to have these wraps, and now you're trimming away because you're close, but you're not passing. SE mod, I would say it's probably the number one thing is just the absolute rake. So how much rake you have on your car is one. The other one is most SE mods have fins in the top. And what they don't want to see is they don't want to see you have to push your car through the jig and then your roof buckles down. They want it to go.
So explain this jig.
Okay, so this jig has, it's basically you set your car on it and it's going to let you pass your car through this almost like a box. And if your car catches, doesn't go through smoothly, they're going to tell you, hey, you've got too much rake, or you need to trim your fins down on your sails. But that's usually the first one that they're going to look at. They'll test battery voltage. So you can't be over, was it 844, 40 or 84, whatever it is, 842, I don't remember. Whatever it is, my charger's already set at it. So I really never worry about voltage for myself.
And like you said, make anybody is listening, I'm sure you're trying to take some notes, but make sure you go out to the Chili Bowl site. Make sure you print those rules, print all the specs, really know what they are. Because it seems like that's
Well, I
the
mean,
last
you're gonna
You
go
show
and
up
they're gonna give you 5 hours of practice. Don't kid yourself. That 5 hours of practice with 600 cars is you're going out there for a minute and a half. You're getting not even your tires warmed up before you're ever even done with your first practice. But you're gonna wait in a 45-minute line that wraps around the expo center.
Right. And the last thing you want is a car that's not legal because it gets caught in that.
We're going to let you go through, get your practice in, but this has to be fixed or you will not pass,
Sure.
And if you don't pass, you're not making it through your heat, and that matters. Your seating round matters. How you qualify absolutely matters. And then just know your program. Know obviously what tires you're going to run, know the prep you need to do your research, take care of yourself, get sleep. It's a fun time. It's stressful. But you need to set some realistic expectations for yourself. If you think you're going to go in there and you're going to walk out a Chili Bowl winner from day one, Godspeed to you. I hope you guys can all have that confidence. I went my first year at Chili Bowl and I failed miserably and I was okay with it, but I went in there with the expectation I was going to have a lot of fun and I did, so my second year at Chili Bowl, I went there with different expectations, I said, hey, if I can make it through a C or a D with this car, I'm satisfied. If I can, make it through SC Mod, I was a B main top contender, in SC Mod last year. Had a really good run, was in a transfer position, got rear-ended, chunked a spur gear. It is what it is. But I felt like I had a decent car that could probably make a good A main run. And that was my program, Ran a 110 late model, built one just for it, turned around, run it, didn't do well, didn't like the tires. I don't like Proline whole shot tires, just don't. But yeah, know what you got to run. Test on those tires, find out what you need to do that's going to make your program work. Figure out how to turn laps because that's really ultimately what it's going to come down to is getting those laps turned down because if you're clicking away laps, you could probably place. But real expectations, if you're going to go in there and you're going to think you're going to dominate, maybe you will, and I hope you do. But go in there and say, hey, I want to be top 40. If I could be a top 40 finisher overall, then you can grow. You can learn from that. Don't be afraid to go ask questions. All the vendors will have team drivers there. So for support, if anybody, I'll be with Exalt, which is right next to GFRP, luckily for me. So if anybody has any questions about anything, we're going to be there for support. You can buy all the products you probably need. If you break and need something, they're there. They're not overly priced. They're retail priced. And then all the vendors are there for you. So if you have questions about bearings or turnbuckles, wheels, ESCs, motors, etc., it's the mecca, man. Go get it. A-Main will be there. Wits will be there. Exalt, GFRP, all of Custom Works, all the brands. They're all going to be there. And the other thing I could say is Chili Bowl flu is real. It is the real deal. Mm-hmm. We're in a horse arena that is on the dirt, so it gets stirred up. Everybody's saucing. It's a combination of the fog in the air. You'll see it, man. A lot of this prep that we put on our tires, people are heating them up, and the fumes are going up. By day 3 or 4, you can look up in the top of the arena and see just a smog. And it's real. It's all the smoke. It's the fumes. It's the heating it up. It's the dirt. It's everything. Sure. So vitamins. Take vitamins, take them before you get there, get them in your system, because when you leave, you're going to feel like absolute poop, So eat properly. A lot of people would like to go and race at RC Chili Bowl, and then they want to go spend time at the real Chili Bowl. If you're going to go spend time at the real Chili Bowl, then you probably aren't taking your RC racing very seriously. Now, if you're running 2-3 classes and it's going to take you from beginning to end, yeah, you're probably not going to have any time to go over there. I'll tell you, in the last 3 years I've not gone to Chili Bowl. I just haven't had time. So I'm only running 2 classes this year. So they took out my favorite class. So it is what it is. But I will be there running Sprint and Outlaw Late Model. So trying to think what else I can I can help them with. We are going to do, and I'll just go ahead and say this so this doesn't take the entire show. We will do a pre-Chili Bowl episode. So Dave and I already talked about it. I'm going to put together kind of like a what to do, what not to do kind of thing. So yeah, another thing is if you have partners or buddies or whatever going with you, you're going to need somebody in pit lane that's going to help you out. So something you're not used to probably doing, you're used to doing your own changes on your car. I'd have a faithful buddy with you or somebody that you trust that will put those 2 turns in the right rear that you want and trust because you're going to need it because you can't do it when you're on the stand.
A couple of things resonate with me from what you said there. The number one thing is this is one of the few times you're going to have every manufacturer under one roof, and it's not at some hobby show, right? This is like in a racing atmosphere, and they're racing, and whether you use their products or not, we've all seen it there that people will help you. You've helped people that aren't GFRP guys. GFRP guys have helped people that are racing the competition. You tell the story of how motors have been worked on, and it wasn't even one of their motors. So just the experience. When you said, top 40, that would be awesome. Me, if I was, I don't have that level of a dirt car. All I have is an SR10 right now. But if I was going there, I would be thinking, I'm going there for the education. That's going to be like free RC college, You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I mean, where could you take a class about how to be a better RC racer anywhere than going to Chili Bowl? Like, just the education alone would be worth the trip. Now, on top of that, you get to race, and now you're gaining racecraft, you're gaining race experience. You can watch some other racers like yourself and some of these GFRP guys and go, wow, like they got off it in the corner. I just barrel it down in there, man, and I stick it. And sometimes I don't stick it. No, don't race like that. Like, you're going to learn racecraft. You're going to learn. So here would be a question I would have for you is, okay, I'm setting up my car. I want to set the best laps. Is that really realistic during the mains? Like, don't you have to kind of set up the car a little bit for an alternate lane? Like, you might not be able to hit your marks every lap because you're out there with 6, 8, however. I've seen 10 cars out there at one time. Don't you somewhat have to have your car ready for the alternate?
So that is a great point. So you need to be able to set your car up multiple ways. So I ideally would tell you bring for one car 6 to 8 sets of tires that are at different tread wears because depending on where you are for track rebuilds dictates what kind of tires you're probably going to run at what tread. So my rookie year, I brought, multiple treads, but had some experienced drivers in my corner that was like, hey, we're going to take your tire program and you're going to have your gamut of tread. You're going to go full tread all the way to, 25 or, 50% tread, whatever it may be, and prep differently. So the track rebuilds dictate what you do. 110 late model for my buddy Tori Snow, put brand new, fresh M4 hole shots on every time because he was on a rebuild. So basically it was absolutely muddy mess. And so all these cars would go out, run 10 laps on practice. They'd bring them in. We're slamming the cars, getting all the dirt out. Right. But then you go 10 races later and they're on a high bike grooved up track. You know what I mean? So like the guy who is on a track rebuild probably isn't going to set your TQ position because he didn't seat himself the best or where the track rebuild is. So you have to race what's realistically in front of you. Not saying you can't do it, but there's some strategy to it.
Folks, are you looking to gain a 10th on the racetrack or maybe get a few ladies like Taylor Swift in your pit stall? Well, I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But here's the good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd just like me. How, you ask? Well, with their custom wraps and killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpys.com. CARPYS.com. Wrapping winners since 2013.
Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has been curing poor traction since 2016. The name says it all. If you're not popping wheelies, it's not Papa Willie's. Papa Willie's has become known across the United States on dirt oval to off-road, asphalt to concrete, carpet to hardwood, and so many other surfaces. Papa Willie's continues adding to their lineup with tonics for cold and hot weather, loose dirt to high traction, dry dirt, wet dirt, clay and abrasive surfaces, along with anti-drag bearing oil, tire cleaner, tire glue, pit accessories, and swag. You can find the complete Papa Willie's catalog at www.papawillies.net. Prepare for victory with Papa Willie's Traction Tonic.
Be sure to use promo code RCUR for 10% off your next purchase at Papa Willie's.
The other thing I would say that you had mentioned about asking drivers, I always want to tell somebody, while a driver is in the pit wrenching, 9 times out of 10, that driver is going to stop and take time and answer a question for you. Just that's why they're in the position that they are. You know, be willing to set our car to the side to try and maybe look at your ride heights or change some camber or some toe and measure some things out. But if you guys are looking at these pro drivers and these elite drivers and understand who they are and what they do, they're there to answer these questions for you. They're there to make your product and your program better. Ask. The first time I ever actually interacted with Seth Izzard from Crater Nation, I'm standing in turn 1 and 2, and I'm just watching because 1 and 2 was always, in my opinion, a better turn than 3 and 4. 3 and 4 had the big roll-up door next to it. So I'm sorry, that is 1 and 2. So I would watch everybody come out of 1 and 2 because it was colder on that side of the track than it was on the other side. So I noticed the car would handle differently. So I was just watching kind of like their entry and exits, just see how they were doing it. And I look over and I watch this guy. I thought it was funny. I didn't know him at first, and I was watching him. He had a controller, and he made it look like he was driving out on this track, and he's turning. But what he was really doing was watching a driver that was out there absolutely dominating, and he was mimicking his throttle control, how he was turning his wheel. So, like, nobody probably noticed it. But then I went up to him and was like, hey, man, like, no one's probably noticing what you're doing, but I see it. And he was like, oh, man, you caught me. That's so embarrassing. I was like, no, man, like, you're watching this guy go out here and dominate, and you're just mimicking his racing style because it's working. You know, maybe you don't drive like that, but now you've got something to put in your toolbox. It's going to make you a better driver, you know? So
there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for muscle memory.
You know, and that was the first time I ever interacted with Seth. I was like, bro, I see what you're doing. And that's pretty legit, you know? So he saw what was working for one of the top drivers and tried to mimic it in his own program in his mind, you know? So, but that's the kind of stuff you got to do, you know, ask them what they're doing. You know, they'll tell you, you know, hey, they may not give you 100% everything they're doing because they're probably running some prototype stuff, you know, stuff that's probably not in your hands or readily available yet, but it is legal. So ask question.
All I would add to that is just be respectful though, right? Like if you do go up, just, you know, read the room. I mean, if it's 2 minutes before their main, they probably would set their card down and say, yeah, let me answer that really quick. But just read the room. Be respectful. They're going to be there. So come back or wait your turn or wait till they make eye contact and go, hey, buddy, yeah, what can I do for you? They'll do that. But the thing I hate to see is somebody going, yeah, well, they said in the show, you know, go over and talk. Well, I went to go talk to him, and he had his back turned to me, and you know, he didn't talk to me. Well, then you peel back the story and go, well, like, when was it? Well, he was getting ready to race. Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, if you were getting ready to race.
I've seen it. Yeah. They're on the phone. They're getting stuff done, and, you know, somebody comes up and interrupts, and he gives them the, you know, the one, like, hang on, give me a minute. And the guy continues to go on, you know. It doesn't turn out good for everybody, but, you know, like you said, read the room. If that dude's thrashing away at his car, I'd probably let him thrash, but if he's just cleaning something and pit clean, his cars look good and he's not really wrenching on them, ask. I mean, they'll stop, they'll talk to you. That's what they're there for. But it's a good time, man. I tell everybody, like, no matter what level of racer you are, there's no reason you guys shouldn't go to Chili Bowl and experience it yourself. You just have to have the realistic expectations of what to expect. Not only will that do you justice on these big races like that, but it's going to allow you to take that program, add some key tools to your toolbox, and then be able to make you a better local racer and a better regional racer. So when you go and start doing these bigger regional races, you'll have a little bit of that etiquette or that tribal knowledge that you've learned from big time racers or just considered pro racers, whatever you want to call them, whoever.
And what I would suggest too is maybe you're on the fence. Maybe you're like, man, that's big time. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Just go. Even if you don't bring your stuff, like, just go there. Just breathe it in. Well, maybe you shouldn't breathe it in, right?
It's a lot.
But you can. Just kidding, Scotty. Everything's gonna be fine. Everybody's gonna come out of there just fine. We love your show and we love you. We're just playing, but go check it out. Like, I've been listening, to some different podcasts with racers, and they always ask the question, "How'd you get started?" And 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Well, we went to Daytona and we got pit passes and we walked around and we just watched, we just observed, and then." My son and I, we've done that when we raced. We think we want to get into this division of midgets or late models or whatever we raced over the years. And we would just go. We just go check it out, because when we came back to that track, maybe it was our first race ever, we were better prepared. Yeah. We understood how to get into the track. We understood how to set up our stuff. Any little bit will give you competitive edge when you really fire up.
Absolute destroyed pit 24/7. You're probably not going to find what you need, but have a game plan, have a plan of action before you ever hit that driver's stand. If your car isn't working, yeah, I know that minute 30 on the track really matters, but maybe that 30-second you go through and you can change hey, we're going to just tighten up the right rear. I mean, that'll make you click laps away. I've got a video. We could put it up. It's 15 seconds or whatever, but put it up and show kind of what it looks like to do some practice runs with like 10 cars on there. Because when you say 10 to 12 cars, it's a lot, but the track is massive. So you can kind of see what it looks like to run some practice. And so I'll show you what it looks like with an SE mod.
Yeah. So we gave some nice little foreshadowing of some shows that are going to come up. TJ will be taking us through. We kind of just gave some quick highlights here of, the 50,000 foot level right now, but we're going to go in more in depth, and then we're going to have some stuff, some from the actual race. TJ will be racing, but we got plans where we'll actually be able to kind of be part of his pit crew and walking around with them and hearing some of those conversations and things like that. So that'll be super exciting. And then we'll do, a post Chili Bowl. See how it went for you. Maybe we'll have some guests on the show that were there racing as well, and just kind of get a debrief. That's how big Chili Bowl is, folks. It deserves to have 3, maybe 4 episodes to it, because it is the biggest race of the year. I'll just say it.
Those that want Chili Bowl prep or anything to it, comment below on this post, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, do all the above, but tell me what you want to hear, whether it be what batteries are you going to run, what motor you're going to run, what cars are you running, what spring rates, the above, what you want to know, ask. And then I'll do a Chili Bowl recipe, the pre-show, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. So it'll be no secret. I mean, you guys are more than welcome to come by the Exalt tent, check out all the cars, the motors, batteries, everything we're going to do, and then go talk with the GFRP guys. They'll tell you what they're going to do. So, yeah, what you guys want to know, if you guys want to hear it, post it below, let me know, and we'll preface that, and we'll use that content for you guys.
Double fingers crossed. Then we're going to get Ryan to come jump on with us. Hopefully things are kind of loosened up a little bit.
I actually got to talk to him the other day, and he's building a new car. So
I saw the picture on the internet.
I'm excited to see what Carpies is going to do for his wrap, because he's been talking for this last year. Man, I just don't know about 110 late model. I'm not good enough. I'm like, dude, chalk it up to what you want to. The only way you're going to get better is when you get behind the wheel of that car and you just start clicking laps away, man. So I'm excited.
So that's what I was going to try to press you on, is what was he building? And so that's what he's building.
He's building one of these. So this is the GFRP 24 Assailant. That is what he is building. So I think he's going to run the new Shark, the new one that he put out, which I did message him and told him, I was like, man, that body looks sick. You know, I saw, who was it that had it? I want to say maybe Mark Bryan, I think, had it. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had it. And it looked awesome, man. Like the nose, the angle of the nose, the downforce, the rake, the decking on it, it just looked absolutely awesome. So I had to tell him, man, love the body, looks awesome. Can't wait to see more of them out there. So, and then Carpies, they're going to do a premiere wrap for him. So, we'll see what it looks like. I'm excited to see him on the track with it. So hopefully, Dirt Oval Nationals up at trackside, maybe we can get in some G mains together.
Oh man, yeah. Well, then we got to bring the show there. We'll definitely mic you guys up and definitely get some content when we're up there. So one of the hometown tracks, that'd be super exciting and fun to do. That'll be cool. Again, we want to thank our partners. Carpies could not do this without Carpies. If you need a wrap, if you need merch, please hook up with those folks. Papa Willie's, great stuff. Couldn't do it with those folks as well. So we really appreciate them. If you got a company and you're like watching this thing, don't think we're locked in. I mean, we would love to have more partners. That's what we're here. We're here to share the RC community. And we talk about partners all the time that aren't ours. GFRP. I mean, I could probably take all footage from all the different shows and have about 3 hours just dedicated to GFRP. And that's cool. You know, Wits Products, same thing. There's just some super people doing super things for the hobby. So it's not a support thing. It's let's all learn about the hobby and who those people are. So, but if any of those companies are out there are interested in, hey, how could I be involved with the show? Just reach out to us on Facebook. Just send us a message. We'd love to have you as a part of the show. All right, buddy. That's it for the Thanksgiving edition. Appreciate you being on.
Blast, man. Glad we got through this one. Didn't know how we were going to do it alone, man. It's hard to do it without some guests, but we clicked away.
You got it. You got it. All right, everybody. Have a great time. Again, thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the RC Underground Radio Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your fellow racers about the show. Tune in again next week for more RC content.